Hello, welcome back to unsquashable.tv. Oh, okay. Welcome back to unsquashable.tv and live on our Facebook page and squashable.com to this, the AJ Bell ESF European Championships, live from the David Ross Sports Village at the University of Nottingham. You're joined shortly on courtside by tournament MC Paul Walters.
Our second men's semi-final match. The first player onto court is the defending champion. Last year he defeated Gregory Gauthier, who you will already see in the final tomorrow, in 5 very tough games. He's an astonishing 15 times Spanish national champion. He's seeded 3-4 for this year's championships, and he claims that he has no pressure. Please show you a warm appreciation. From Spain, Borja Golán. Highest ranked player in the championships. He's a former world #1, and he's playing only the second time in this championships, having first played in 2004. Please give a huge welcome from England, James Willstrop.
So, welcome back to our second men's semi-final here with me, lead commentator Josh Taylor, and I'm joined once again with the resident head coach here at the University of Nottingham, Richard O'Connor.
Yeah, hi. Looking forward to this. It's going to be good. Interesting, the differences in styles. That's going to be something to watch this, though.
Yeah, I think these two really are a nice little matchup. Last time they faced each other was at the Bellevue Classic, which wasn't that long ago, and they had a very long 3-2er, which James took 12-10 in the fifth in 87 minutes. So hopefully we're going to be in for a good encounter, Rich.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see 87 minutes today. I think the court's, it takes a shot player's skills and puts them to good use. So I think it's going to be very difficult. I mean, Borja's ability with taking the ball early, fetching, working hard, is going to be tested to the full, because James looked yesterday as though he was on with his skills. Nice touch.
Yeah, both players have been around for quite a while on the tour now, with Borja's highest ranking up at 5 in the world, and James obviously reaching 1 in the world. Both players are experienced in these kind of situations, so it'd be interesting to see. Borja, defending champion at this event, having beaten Gregory Gaultier in the final last year, will want to defend his title for sure. I think if we look at the recent form, James has been playing some really good squash, and he showed that last night. He recently just won last week the Cleethorpes Invitational, which is a pre-season event not too far away from here, and he also at the end of last season was runner-up in the end of season World Series finals. So he's definitely followed up some good form at the end of last season into this event.
Yeah, and a lot of players, they're into their summer training at the moment. They're probably getting to the pinnacle of their summer training, and they very often use a tournament like this to get some sharpening up, match practice sharpening up. There's not quite the same pressure on them as when they're chasing their PSA ranking points, so they can be a little bit freer with what they do, and sometimes that's really exciting squash, like we witnessed at the Dubai.
Yeah, there's some really exciting stuff that got played there.
I know it was a short format squash, but it was quite exciting, wasn't it?
I'm
sure a lot of the...
And James really did well in that format, didn't he? I think that's where you see the shot makers can kind of work through it. I think the standout for me yesterday was how well James was moving in the match. I think when you see James moving well, we know how good his shots are going to be and his shot making can be. So when you see him fit and healthy and moving smoothly, you know he's going to be a fierce competitor for anyone on the World Tour. Borja yesterday taking out the Nottingham home favourite in Det James. It was quite a tight match actually.
Det looked all right for 2 to 3 games. I think towards the end, I don't know whether he just didn't quite have that extra strength that Borja has, and Borja can sustain that sort of pace for so long.
Yeah, I think it was promising signs watching Det play Borja yesterday. I think shows that he's put some good work in the summer block, and is gradually starting to close that gap on these top 20 caliber players. Or even, Borja's reached top 10 in his career, and he's probably looking to do that with look to have some of that kind of form moving into this season, having been injured a large part recently. He's looking like he's fit and healthy and back into his best form.
What's Borja's age now, Josh?
Oh, that's a good question, Rich. It's a good job I've got the page open.
I like to make you work for a living, really.
Have a guess. I'll test you back.
28?
No, he's 34.
Really?
Yeah. Just shows the longevity of players.
So you've got
Greg also 34. So you got a 34-year-old in Greg. In Borja. You're going to fire across what age James is, aren't you? Do you know how old James is?
Is he 35?
He's 34 as well.
Oh, 34.
So we've got 2 34-year-olds. So
okay, so nothing.
These have probably seen plenty of each other across juniors as well.
Yeah, in those early years, saw James quite a bit, working on the England squash.
Did he stand out
Lead coaching, and he was
as a junior?
Oh, he was always at the top, wasn't he? At the top of every age group.
He won every junior title going, didn't he? He was probably the
him
most
and Peter
successful
Barker, can
English
remember,
junior.
can remember like it was yesterday. I'm reminiscing.
Ponty have now got young Sam Todd coming through the ranks. He seems to be doing very well in the junior tournament. So have you seen much of him come
Yes,
through?
I did. He came here and he played the Nottingham Junior Open here. I was really impressed. He was playing the under-19 age group, and what is he, 14?
Yeah, he's only 14, yeah.
In the under-19 age group, I think he came 5th in the tournament or something like that. So, look at the future.
I think the thing with him is his physicality at his age. He's a big lad for 14, but he's got the skills already, and once he's grown, now that he's grown, he's got the physicality and the skills, and that's allowing him to take on some of the older age groups.
Have you seen him here at the moment? Has he been watching or not?
No, but his dad, Nick, has come today,
yeah.
So we've got Malcolm down there as well in James's corner today, so we've got a bit of a Ponty influx for this semi-final.
Now, I don't think we'll have the first two games without drop shots and short shots, so...
yeah, I think it'll be a bit in contrast to the last match. I think we'll see plenty of attacking play off these two.
AJ Bell European Individual Closed Squash Championships 2017. Men's semi-final match. Borja Golán of Spain to serve. James Willstrop of England to receive. Best of 5 games. Love all.
So here we go. Our much awaited second men's semi-final is underway. Going for it early doors, Rich.
Yeah, went in first, but caught the tin.
Definitely an opportunity though, and you've got to have a go with those opportunities. James doesn't want to hold back, particularly with his favoured backhand drop. Both players just trying to figure each other out in this early stages.
Good working shot. So James is up and running with the working shots.
One all.
James looking to hit with a bit more intensity than he did yesterday. Yesterday he started with the use of height very early on, didn't he? Whereas today,
I think he'll do that straight away. Every time there's a bit of a sting in the pace from Borja, I'm sure he's going to do that extra height bit. A couple of mistakes from Borja so far, but James has had one himself. So out of 4 points, three errors.
You like your stats on those, don't you, Rich?
Yeah.
How do you remember them all? That's the key. It's a well-worked memory on winners and errors front.
Yes, led. 3-1, right.
Funny thing is, I never remember my anniversary or my wife's birthday.
There's that backhand drop.
Yeah, but I'm impressed with Borja's counter drop there. We were talking about that last game, the need for the quality in the counter drop, and Borja's got a nice steady one that just...
No lead.
Oh, here we go. Borja likes to have a little bit of a chat, so... A little bit of acting there as well, but he's not happy. James looking to
See
use
the
that
height?
lift. Yeah.
Yeah, the height.
Just starting to bring it in. Oh, that's a beautiful shot.
Height again, get position.
Yes, led. 4-1.
Borja had to be there. He had to be up in the court because of James's threat with the drop shot. So he's always in danger of that ball being whipped down the wall, and he looks as though he's going the wrong way.
Just watching how alert James is on the tee to what his opponent does. He's always looking and trying to work out what's coming next. He's always so alert there.
5-1.
It's very visible as well. It's a good one for any club players or juniors out there to watch. Just trying to anticipate, always turning over his shoulder at his opponent in the back corners. There's that counter, Rich. Yeah. Taking it in on that backhand
And
side.
he takes care over it, so you know,
2-5.
no fuss about it.
Nice, simple, careful drop.
Yeah.
What was you saying yesterday? Tight is right. There we go. Tight is right to the back.
I've got a copyright on that.
Have you?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Have I got a fine? It's in the post. It's a nice post. Just forcing the lift out of James.
Down, hand
Just
out.
trying to force it though off that.
6,
Yeah,
2.
Got to respect that lift of James.
he's looking for a winner where there wasn't one.
So often James uses that height, doesn't he, to flip the play. Just catching him there. With a low cross court.
Yeah.
Hand out. 3,
Little
6.
stun ball across the onto James's backhand.
While we've been watching, James has obviously worked a 6-3 opening, so another mistake.
4,
That's
6.
only his second mistake, but
Borja's one never to give in though. He's quite a fighter. See, it's one of his probably strongest characteristics is how he really knuckles down in all of his matches. Oh, that's a
whipped
cracking,
that one in.
6.
cracking straight kill from the back of the court there. To bring that gap down to just 1 point in this our first game.
Thank you. Hand out.
That was,
Nice honesty from
honesty.
Borja.
Hand out.
Again, James
7,
winning on the
5.
short drop.
Showing his skill there. Using the strings to take it in.
Well, what do you use, Josh?
Oh, the frame.
Okay.
Every time. Most expensive part.
Just patiently holding his position there.
And
Third mistake, and
hand out. 6, 7.
Talking of what you say, I found a YouTube clip of Rami switching to the handle and playing a drop actually the other day.
great shot.
Shot there, just using his flow
There you
into
go.
that.
the shots he's used to the front have been boasts up to now, but that's his first long straight drop shot, and really came well. Apart from that kill that he did on his forehand side.
His first shot with real touch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Straight. James just showing the short ball, sending back long on that volley. Just trying to open up the right chance. That's a great little passage of play there from James.
Yeah. He held him 3 times and pushed him back down the wall, and he had to go the
just making him do a lot of work there, wasn't
he? Long way around all the time, you know, round the front of James.
Just shows the art of opening up a space, doesn't it? And also the racket skill of these guys.
No let. Hand out.
Now I wonder where he was expecting James to move to.
Yeah.
Hand out. 8 all.
I think it was a quality thing, wasn't it? That they were not expecting him to get that ball, but these guys cover the court so well, don't they, that most of the shots are reachable. It's whether or not there's a line.
Yes, let.
It's very similar to the last decision.
I would say that was a tighter shot than the last one.
8 all.
Well,
You can understand Borja's frustration there, because they're after consistency, aren't they, the players? That's the key.
8 all.
The players don't tend to mind as much as long as it's consistent.
yeah, I would have probably given the opposite decision on both of those, but it would have amounted to the same thing. Can't get a let from that.
Hand out.
Tight drop shot, trademark James.
So James finds himself 9-8 up in this first game. After that lead to 6-3, I believe, he's now ended up quite tight in the back end of this first game. He's used that combination twice now, James. The quick boast, taking it in and then straightening it off.
And there we go.
Oh, very frustrated.
Game ball.
James worked the pressure in the front of the court, and then a couple of times just a hold and a punch down the wall. Using height again.
That's nice.
Straight in the neck.
11-8. Game to Willstrop.
James closes that out beautifully in that first game, taking the first game 11-8, giving him a 1-game lead in this, our second semi-final. So what do you think there, Rich? What do you think would be the standout bits if you were trying to turn it around for Borja? If you were in his corner, what would you be suggesting to counteract James's ability with the racket?
Well, I think he showed signs that he was going to use some positional height, and then when he played that shot,
it was beautiful backhand drop, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in the same passage of play. He'd been throwing the ball up a little bit, getting good position, and then he started to play a few shots, and I just thought it was good. See, the second one was the better shot. The first one was a definite let to me. Too tight. It's too tight.
That was in that passage, wasn't it, where
Yeah.
James looked to work the boast in, and then it created a few opportunities off it.
So James plays the first game. I think what did I stop on? 3 errors, I think. He made 3 errors which were unforced. But then again, look at the number of winners.
Yes.
Borja, I think he showed good signs in the middle of that game. He was using a boast to work James in a little bit. The long drop shot was a notable shot. He's just not quite getting enough pressure on James in moments. But the trouble is, if you leave James up, he's got the perfect counter, and you know, he's got the little hold and the push down the court as well, which we saw 2 or 3 times from him when Borja just didn't quite get the ball tightened up in the front. So it's hard. He's got to keep doing that. I mean, top 10 players can do that, and he's been in the top 10, so he knows that.
Yeah, it's the intensity that I think you've got to bring to the game against someone like James, and you've got to almost force yourself to get in front and put pressure on in terms of velocity of hitting and rushing him, so he doesn't have that time to allow his shot making to count. We see that a lot when James plays Nick, a player that often rushes and takes the ball so early.
Yeah, Nick takes time away from him, and that's the key to reducing the number of shots that are going to be fired in by James. It's a bit of a Borja. You see, that's sort of controlling the middle, just getting the length right and using a little bit of height.
There's that backhand drop.
Thank you.
And once again, James is always keen to take it in.
1 love.
So Borja played that rally well from a control and depth point of view, but he didn't have anything to go in short. Great cross court.
2 love.
Only a nice weight and width to that shot. That beautiful lob serve, chucking it up. Loving the actions.
Yes, lad. 2 love.
The difficult thing there is Borja hasn't showed us many winning shots, so
Becomes hard at this level, doesn't it, if you've not got enough weapons to put pressure on your opponent or cause doubt.
make a referee think you can put the ball away from there.
Oh, making every effort.
Yeah.
Clear time, please.
It's a bit of a Roadrunner episode there. Legs were spinning, but not really going far. Oh, we see here our court attendance much quicker today. The men in red.
Thank you.
Okay, sure we get that court right for these players.
That's a pressure shot. That's what you've got to do more. And another one.
Yep.
There you go.
Hand out.
Just punishing James for going cross court there
1,
twice.
3.
Being able to capitalise on the angles created off the cross courts. Closing down the court, but being able to attack it as well.
Well, these days, if he wants to stay in the top 10, I mean, you look at the Egyptians that are in that
That's
top
right.
10, they're all
1,
shot players
3.
as well. He's got to be there with them. He's got to do what he did in that last rally more often take the opportunities when they're there. He's got athleticism on his side, no doubt, but that's good. There's a pressure shot again. No.
Just leaving that court open. You're always going to get picked off by James if you do that.
That started well and then straight down the middle, wasn't it?
He's just trying to do too much off it.
Bread and butter for James in the end. Pressure. Again, he's taking that cross court on when he's got James under pressure. He's got to go straight. Oh, bottom of the tin.
5-1.
4-point lead for James. Becomes a hard gap to claw back.
Down
Still going for it.
and out. 2-5.
Phantom streak it.
Yeah. That's nice.
That's good. So
That's a nice shot.
took the opportunity.
3-5.
James doesn't often leave it so shallow on the width. Right. And again, good position he's got. Yeah.
Yes, let. 3-5. Left box, please.
Borja diving in there a bit. I thought the line was going to come back. I didn't think he was going to get the volley.
Good shot. Huh?
Oh. They're costly, those errors. They add up, don't they, Rich?
Yeah, there's the difference. I mean,
6-3.
you'd back James to put that one in if he was there.
It's just rushing it a bit. You know, you're talking about trying to take your time on those
Yeah.
drop shots and making sure they're very delicate and precise. Just look rushed to me there.
Referees always look in your favour. You just play your shot and make the other person look as though it's a struggle, and then you'll.
It's a good get from James.
And that's a good shot.
No
Soft
let.
hands.
No let.
And out.
Yeah, that's fair. Soft
4-6.
hands from.
That's one
Well-
area that I don't think he lacks. I think he gets up and he plays a nice counter up front. He's good. Right.
Nice long rally here, Rich.
Yeah. Sometimes I like the patient rally. It's just. Oh.
Oh, just catching him off there.
And out.
Just drew him in. I think Borja was expecting some sort of straight
7-4.
drop or something there.
I didn't think there was many bad shots there. It was much more strategic, trying to get your position going.
Down.
A mistake.
Just
And
clipping the
out.
top of the tin.
5-7.
James just looking to work the angles. Can't afford too many, otherwise this gap slips away. Borja, not one to back down. Always stayed in touching distance if he can. He's a good fighter. Oh, that's a beautiful bit of work there from James at the front of the court.
Hand out.
Just showing his hands on that backhand
8,
side.
5.
I mean, he's so good up front there, he could have punched that straight down the line, and that's what Borja, just one hesitation about that shot, and then
It's the thing that happens, isn't it, Rich, when you start to set up options for yourself on when you arrive at the ball, that it causes so much doubt for your opponents. That's a nice
that's
little
a nice
hold.
hold.
Last minute
I thought he
acceleration.
drew James in a little bit there.
Yeah, just showed the drop a little bit softer and then accelerated through it. James has done a few of those, hasn't he?
Yeah.
It's the first real sign of Borja showing a bit more on that forehand front corner.
Good use of height, both of them. Nice length.
There's that soft touch from Borja
Lovely.
on that counter. Both players just trying to find that space. That's a nice volley, but I think that'll be a let.
That'll be a
No
let.
let.
Oh,
That's,
I think that's set up enough for him, really. What
Yeah.
do you think?
I think if you replayed that, you'll find the bounce in that service front of the service box there. Look at that. The bounce
Yeah,
is on
I mean,
the
it's
short
nearly-
line. I mean,
he's
James
nearly
is
there from where he was.
7,
Yeah,
8 from the left, please.
it's very harsh. Nice lift. Both players just trying to find that room again.
Nice shot
Oh,
again.
that's
Oh.
a beautiful backhand drop
That's
again.
lovely.
Textbook James
Hand
Willstrop.
out. 9, 7.
He uses it with such ease, doesn't he, that backhand drop? It's just so
Yeah.
lovely to watch.
And the other two occasions he went to the back, he just lifted from that same
Mm.
position, didn't he? So he's
It's the subtleties of the game that he does so well. Ah,
too tight.
again,
Too tight.
just great wit.
Just perfect.
10, 7. Game ball.
So James opens himself up 3 game balls in this second game. James opting to go through and play it after that decision earlier
Yeah.
on. Made a bit of a meal of trying to get through there though, just showing to the refs that
He's in the
how
way.
much effort he had to make to get there.
Yes, let.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
that's fair. Borja won't think so though.
No let. 10, 7. Game ball.
Por favor.
What do you think Malcolm will make of all this conversation from Borja? He's not one to like his players to talk too much.
Good recovery.
Out.
I'll take. Very good rally from Borja there.
Hand out. 8, 10.
Kept the
game
pressure
ball.
on. The short game was good.
8, 10.
He was being positive. Nice little hold in front and got James to stretch.
Just
Now
closing
that
it back down.
takes
Just
that
one.
long drop
9,
shot
10,
chance, and it works for
game
him.
ball.
Anything James can do, you can do. Borja.
I'm not sure about that.
Short, not good.
He's brought it back.
10
Brought
all.
it back, helped by James on that
Player must score
occasion,
2 points.
but he was being positive.
Just show Borja, you can never put him away. He's always going to fight right to that last bit. Can't afford to give him too much at the end of each game, otherwise he'll be right back in there.
Down 11-10, game ball.
Now opening up a game ball for himself.
Done.
Off James's error, just snatching at that. He didn't need to do that.
He had 4 game balls and finds himself 1 down.
That's very tight.
Yes, that. 11-10, game ball. Yes, lad.
Yeah, I think that's a let, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it needs to be complicated at all.
Yeah.
11-10, game ball.
I wouldn't like to be on the receiving end of one of Borja's hard drives. I think in the wrong place on your body. Tight from James, good. Kicked out.
Frustration.
Hand out. 11
Kicked
all.
out. Didn't have enough touch on it. Didn't have enough to make it look like James had to lunge.
It's back to 11 all.
All square. It's got to calm down. Game isn't lost yet. Takes on that long drop shot again. That's a good shot.
He's starting to work that more and more, isn't he?
Yep.
Borja.
Yes, lad. 11 all.
That's a fair decision, but we've had a few of those giving us no lets
Yeah,
earlier
we
on in
have.
this game.
We have.
Hence the conversation from Borja.
Yeah.
It's the consistency that he's after. Particularly when you get to these key points at the back end of a game.
Switch off. Refocus.
Yes, lad. 11 all. Out.
He wasn't ready for it. Wasn't ready for it.
And out. 12-11.
Borja opens himself
ball.
up another game ball. See if you can capitalise on this one, Rich.
Yes, lad. 12-11.
Same again.
They're so marginal. They're so
Yeah. Let's have a look at this. I think James was saying that
And
there
out.
was a bit of sweat on the ball. Just saying it skidded on off the wall.
12 all.
Just see how it skidded off the wall a little bit more, shooting on. Oh,
So not a good
13,
error that.
12. Game
Just
ball.
do you see
Snatching.
James's alertness and attitude in that in that?
just trying to take a
It's
hold
like-
of this.
Yeah, closing
this
it out.
match.
It's like this is what you do. The closing it out. Just watch his urgency at position now.
Taking that so early. Ref's giving a stroke there. Borja very frustrated but being very polite and
Take the red stop,
James pass.
14, 12.
You can understand his frustration there.
Yeah, several rallies down that backhand short area. You know, a mixed bag of results. I mean, some were loose, some were coming down deep. It's quite difficult to sort out.
Getting mixed decisions from the referees as well, weren't we there? So
Yeah.
then that's where the consistency is key, because it lets the players know exactly what line they need to take and what they need to do. When the decisions become mixed, you don't know whether to play the ball or not.
That's never give up attitude, isn't it?
So James takes a 2-game lead here. Which you predicted maybe a bit of a shorter encounter, or am I counting my chickens? What do you reckon will come out in this game? I think Walker's going to come out very fiery and firing.
I'm not
in this
sure that
third
that would
game.
help. I think with his better spells of play there, yeah, if he can replicate the better spells of play there, you know, those short shots that he played like that, and he's moving up on James. Yeah, mistake. Lovely short shot.
He actually worked in a couple of beautiful backhand
There you
drops.
go.
There again.
I tell you what, that bounce was so close to the service. It was
Yeah.
the second bounce. And that one was on the short line. I mean, for James, it's a half a step.
It's just that confusion and decisions around there. There's
That
another
one was
one.
a shorter one.
I'm trying to think how many decisions we got in that area. I think we ended up with maybe about 6.
Yeah. So the last one, which was the shortest of balls, but it was loose. But James got a point there. Anyway,
So we find ourselves with James 2 games to love up. I think he looked very good in that game until he got 10-6 up actually, and that's where Borja just doesn't give up. James can't afford to show any complacency because Borja takes full advantage if he does. Real strong competitor.
for Borja, I think, you know, let's assume this is sort of a training game before the main season starts. He's got to take quite a lot of pluses from this if he has a look at, you know, the good bits.
Willstrop leads.
I think
2
he's got a
games to
decent
love.
attack down the backhand side. He's got good counters up front. He probably doesn't throw the ball up and get himself a little break every now and again.
The ball.
That's a nice tight straight
shot.
drop.
Hand out.
What's my copyright
Love.
expression, Josh?
Tight is right. Is that another?
Aha,
Is that
yes.
another tenner to your
Yeah,
age?
that's another tenner. Kitching. Good length.
Ah,
That's a good shot.
2 love.
James digging it out.
Oh,
You can't afford to do
Timbers.
those. You got to use every one of those chances that
he
James
looked
gives you.
as though
'cause
he
he
had
doesn't
no
give you many.
confidence at that moment, you know.
Very honest there from Borja. He's very fair. Always calls his balls if they're not up.
Working him in again, so
Yes, that.
I just like his positivity. When he's positive, got a great game. Puts a lot of pressure on people. And that's just a good basic shot. Tight. No, and there's a loose one.
Oh, that's such a tight drop. That backhand.
What a recovery.
That's a double.
What a recovery. That's two
Doing so
sensational
well there,
boasts in the last couple of rallies.
And out. 3,
And
2.
kicked it into the sidewall.
Look at that. That's a lovely weighted boast, isn't it? That 2-wall boast that's just dying away, forcing your opponent to get onto it. See there, James, full stretch, trying to reach to that ball.
Mistake.
4, 2.
Borja finds himself 4-2 up in this third game. Couldn't have wished for a better start. Just nudging ahead of James, who leads the match 2 games to love.
Basic shot.
That's well straightened off. That's got to be a no let.
No let.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
It just got deep.
And out. 3, 4.
James doing so well there to follow that up and make the most on the volley to straighten it off.
Great deep shot. Good length. Back to all square. Good spell of play from both players.
Nice lift. Borja just trying to work the ball around. Put James in some uncomfortable positions, but James back on top in this rally.
Amazing
Some
rally.
great skills from both players there.
Both players really top of the game with the short stuff. Throwing the ball up.
It's one of the rallies of the match that I think both of them looking to use all their skills.
Covering the court. Quite a warm and humid day here in Nottingham, really, I think.
Yeah, it's been warm.
Outside sort of 22.
Yeah, I was risking getting a bit of sunburn sat outside earlier on.
Yeah.
Not used to the sun. We don't have any sun in Manchester, it just rains all the time.
You soft northerners.
5, 4.
Yeah, let's have more of that, guys. That was good. Working the ball around the court. Both very skilled.
James looking to inject a bit of tempo into this now.
Yes, that.
Just taking a bit of confidence from that last great rally. That ball, see if he injects that pace again in this rally. If he chooses to mix up his paces again.
Yes, that.
Yeah, that's where he should have taken it on. James would have just pushed that into the corner. Great touch.
Nice hold, taking the boast in, opening up the space deep. That's nice play again from James. Just opening up the diagonals, Rich. Forcing Borja to do a lot of work.
Yeah. Borja should have thrown that up again. It was a mistake. Nice hold, I like that.
Ah,
Now they're one
nice
too many.
skill.
The boast you could see coming a little bit more than the other
yeah.
two. The other two that he hit winners on. Now that's a bit of a gap.
3-point gap. It suddenly becomes quite a big hurdle, doesn't it? But Borja's done well in the last few games at really sticking in the back end. Particularly that second game, he really dug in, didn't he, in the back end, not giving up.
Sent back.
Nice lift.
Sent back.
And again, just
And
shut
a
out
perfect
there.
length.
8-4.
That's the
What's
sort of
this?
situation. You see that they're in close proximity, and that's where James most often just plays the ball because the opponent's at a big disadvantage.
Yeah, you see Borja had to cover round, didn't he, for the more attacking options to the front, but then that allowed James to just shut him out with the length.
9-4.
There's point and no argument from Borja. I think he was going around the wrong way.
So the end is starting to become in sight for
Mistake.
James.
4.
Opens up 6 match balls.
Strong long drop shot failed him. And another 10.
11-4.
That's quite a soft finish for Borja. He's the only one to fight, but
It's a shame because at 4-all,
11-4.
or even at 4-2, wasn't it? He was playing a decent game of squash. That.
so we're joined on court
Ladies and
side
gentlemen,
with tournament
please show your
MC Paul
appreciation
Walters
there
down
to
with
both
James
players.
Willstrop.
And if I could kindly ask Borja if you wouldn't mind just joining us on court. If you wouldn't mind. Ladies and gentlemen, Borja Golán. I appreciate it's not the best time to speak to you, but you literally, as you can see, have left absolutely everything on the court. That was a brutal game. Maybe the score didn't really reflect just how close a match that was.
Yeah, I mean, this kind of course, glass court for James is one of the best players here. You have to be so accurate, so concentrated all the time, no making mistakes. Just play perfect game, and I think today I was a bit far from the perfect game, but it was because also James put me in a lot of pressure. Yeah, when you don't play the best shots, you have to dive like I dived today and run even more. But it's the first tournament of the season, and hopefully it's a good test for the next ones. So congrats to James because he played really well, and it's always a pleasure playing with him.
You're always a true gentleman. You're a great competitor. I know how much it meant when you won this title 12 months ago, and on behalf of the ESF and everyone associated with this event, I'd just like to thank you for being in Nottingham. It's been a pleasure to see you, and thank you for putting on a great semi-final. And good luck for the rest of the season. Thank you. James, almost 1-1. He served for that second game. How crucial was that in the context of this match and potentially in the context of this event for you?
Oh yeah, I mean you've probably singled out the big area of the match really. Sometimes matches just turn on those areas, and it's a tough thing because, well, I mean I don't need to state the obvious, but it's the commentator's thing, isn't it? 2-0 is obviously just a million miles from 1-1 and within the context of that match we'd worked each other hard, and so I knew I'd put him through work, and to go in at 1-1 after I'd played well and worked him hard would have been just a bit of a downer really. So it's a very positive, and then again you're at the beginning of the season, so when you're talking about the context of an event, you certainly don't want to be having 5-set matches when it's your first event really. So yeah, take that every day of the week against Borja, who's a tremendous athlete and who makes every match hard. So,
in the context of where you are in the season, obviously, as Borja said in the match, you've trained 3 months to get here in the off-season. Where do you feel you're at? Have you still got a few gears left, hopefully for tomorrow, or certainly for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I just sort of take it each chunk of time really as this stage, and every week I try and keep it positive and keep the head in a positive state of mind. I love playing squash and I'm playing all right, and you just want to keep injury free really. And I mean, I'll need another. Everyone needs another gear against Greg, so I'll need another gear. But hopefully it'll be there. I feel good. I had some good matches last week, so I'm going into it certainly without heavy matches today. So that's good, and hopefully we'll put on some good squash.
We tried very hard, particularly with the help of the European Squash Federation, to sort of reschedule this from the end of last season, at the end of a long season, to be the beginning of a new season. In many ways, do you feel that that's possibly the right place for an event like this?
I do, yeah. I mean, it's difficult, really difficult, because the schedule's heavy, and particularly this year. I mean, we've got the added World Teams in there and the added Commonwealth Games, and so that makes it heavy over the whole year. So to then play European individuals in May or April or May, it's just an impossibility for some of us. And this is much clearer, much better for us. There's a little gap. There isn't always in August, but there is this year, and it's worked perfectly. People want matches, they want to play, they're a bit fresher, so try and support it. The European individual title is a huge thing, and we want to make it a big deal. I know not everyone's played it over the years, but this is just the way it is. Something has to give at some point, and this maybe has been it for the last few years.
And obviously for yourself, quite close to home. But in terms of facilities and ease and hotel, everything on site, again, does that make hopefully the whole experience a little bit easier and more enjoyable?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a tough walk to the hotel, but you could have made it a little bit nearer, really. No, it's fantastic. I mean, to see a new facility going up like this is tremendous. When you're a squash fan, I love to see new facilities, and this is a vibrant tournament. There's a lot of people playing all sorts of levels. It's been great, and it is extremely. The facility's excellent. The hotel's right there. It can't be any better, really. So we're thrilled. I think all of us are thrilled to be here and playing.
We're thrilled that you're playing. I'm sure everyone here has thoroughly enjoyed that match, and hopefully they'll come back and support you tomorrow. Good luck, and I'm sure we'll have another great final. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, James Willstrop. If I could just say a final thank you to everyone for supporting this event. We do have our finals tomorrow. The various playoff matches will start from 12 o'clock. We hope to see you. Have a safe journey, and hopefully see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us again this evening on squashworld.tv and our Facebook page and squashworld.com. You can join us for the finals of the AJ Bell ESF European Championships on both our TV channel at squashworld.tv and our Facebook page tomorrow for 4 o'clock for the women's final, 5 o'clock for the men's, and if you want to tune in earlier you can see the 3-4 playoffs at 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock respectively. Hope to see you tomorrow. Thanks.